It may be a bit rich of me to say greetings and salutations, but I just did it. This is Geeks Unleashed on Geek Bomb. Hey there, what we do every single week is get a guest on to just completely geek out, because everyone's got a little inner geek that is desperate to have a loud voice, and that's what it's all about. Joining me on the Geek Bomb panel today, I've got Tegan from Sydney, Wollongong.
Hello.
Nate's in Brisbane.
Hello, hello.
And I've got Maddie, who is in LA as well.
Hi.
So we're going to cover a bunch of different things, and our guest today is John Campea. This man has basically started up a movie content empire, and we're going to get to the bottom of all of that. He is the Editor-In-Chief of AMC. He runs shows like AMC Movie Talk, Spoilers, Mail Bag, Versus. What else is there? Have I got?
Jedi Council, and this will be the first place anybody's heard of this, but we're launching some new shows in the coming months, including AMC Heroes, AMC Rewind, and they're probably going to be mad at me that I'm saying all that kind of stuff right now. But
hold on, we're just having
sneak peek.
This is an exclusive right now. You just dropped the bomb like within 13 seconds, which I think is a record. Fantastic. Hold up. Heroes. What is AMC Heroes? Can you tell us any more, or are you just going to give us the titles?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a big mystery. AMC Heroes is going to be basically it's going to be a weekly rundown of all that week's comic book superhero news, superhero movie news. So we've had a lot of people asking us for a long time, do something like this, and so it is coming in the coming months. We're going to have that. So, and it's going to be called AMC Heroes.
And Rewind?
Rewind is going to be a little bit different for us. It's going to be, what's the best way for me to put this? It's going to be kind of a look at movies that are over 20 years old. So not just like everything that we do at AMC is about current theatrical run films, and we wanted to throw in something that kind of diversified us a little bit. And so we're going to do Rewind. So every week we're going to talk about a couple of movies that are at least 20 years old, and then look at the movies that turn. We're going to call it our Feeling Old segment. We're going to look at the movies that turn 20 years old that week. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Is it almost like if you're born in the 90s, you're only going to be learning things?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
To the people born in the 90s, I usually just say shut up and let the rest of us have our nostalgia.
Don't worry.
Funny enough, I'm actually wearing a Wayne's World shirt right now, so I'm kicking the nostalgia. So
very nice.
Yeah. Also, do you have a job opening in that? Because that sounds amazing.
It's funny, honestly, besides will Spider-Man ever be in Avengers? Because we get about 1,000 email questions a week, and besides will Spider-Man be in the Avengers, the next biggest question we usually get is, do you have any job openings?
Yeah.
That's usually the next biggest one we get.
Fantastic. So to kick things off and to do a bit of getting to know you, so you know the panelists and we can get to know you as well, we do a little something called Quickfire questions. And this is where we go down the line and someone has to ask another person the most random geeky question, and then that person has to say the first thing that comes into their mind. So I'm going to kick things off and I'm going to ask Nate. Nate, are you ready?
My body's ready. Go.
Good, because it involves your body. When you were a kid, did you have any kind of like cartoon underwear, and what was it?
Did I have any cartoon underwear?
Yeah.
I probably, the only ones that I can really remember was my lovely, lovely red boxer shorts that had Pokemon all over it. I've also had like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle underwear, Transformers. I've had it all.
Great. Now your turn to ask another person on the panel of your choosing.
Okay, I will ask Teags.
Yeah.
So Tegan, you can only choose one form of entertainment to get the rest of geeky news and everything, all your fixes for the rest of your life. What are you going to choose and why?
Oh, carrier pigeon, because that's hilarious. Internet, because it covers everything, obviously. Like, it's a bit of a cheat answer, but yeah, internet.
Oh, you cheater.
Yeah.
I liked carrier pigeon better.
It's like a hawk instead. You train it up. It's a
I
fire.
feel like
yeah.
you just get the important stuff. You don't have to filter through the crap. So,
It
okay.
just, weekly manuscripts just get dropped off. That'd be
Well,
very
you could be
episode.
like, you'd be like Jon Snow and find out that everyone in your family's dead like 6 months after it happened. Spoiler.
Right, everyone else knows.
Like, shit.
Yeah,
All right, Tiggs,
they
go.
may-
Okay, John, I know you're a poker fan. Who is your favorite celebrity poker player? Or not celebrity, celebrity in terms of poker players.
My favorite is probably. Oh, damn it! Why am I forgetting his real name? From Seinfeld.
Oh,
Jason Alexander?
Jason Alexander. Thank you. I've actually had a chance to play with Jason a few times. When I'm in Vegas, we usually play like Planet Hollywood or something like that, and you can tell how tight we are because I didn't even remember his name. But he is. The reason he's my favorite, he's not the best celebrity poker player. That's Elijah Wood. But
Really?
Yeah, Elijah Wood is like heads and shoulders like probably the best.
Wow.
He's a mathematician. Like, so when you're playing poker with Elijah Wood, he's never smiling because he's constantly running math numbers in his head about odds. And he's devastatingly good. And you never see him play tournaments. He always plays cash games and stuff like that. But Jason Alexander, when he's playing, he sees it as his responsibility to entertain everybody at the table with him. And he's so funny, and he's good, which makes him kind of scary. So I would say Jason Alexander.
Great. Now, John, it's your turn to ask Ziana a question.
Okay, so who hasn't been asked a question yet? Maddie hasn't been asked a question yet.
Yeah,
All right,
Maddie.
so this is for Maddie, or any girl on the panel, really. Has a guy ever using a geek-based pickup line worked on you? Like wanting to
Oh.
with you or something like that. I don't know.
Oh,
Oh my
I'm
god,
trying
this
to
happened the other
think.
week.
You know what?
Oh.
I've never actually had a guy use a geeky pickup line on me. I've only ever had guys come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're wearing a geek t-shirt? Prove it." And I'm like, yeah, that's not working for me. Literally, well, the latest geek pickup, I guess, was, okay, oh, your t-shirt says geek? Okay, well, prove you're a geek. If you're a real geek, and I know girls aren't really geeks, so you might not know this, but if you know the meaning of this word, I'll believe you're a geek. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, what is Linux? And I'm like, really? That's like Linux, like the operating system. I don't know how to say it, but I was like, really? That's your question? You couldn't even ask me to name like 150 Pokemon or something? Like, come on, get with the program. So, no,
I apologize for males. I apologize for males.
It was a colleague as well, and I was like, no, I have to see you like every day.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I've been hit on because of my name before. Because I'm Tegan and Doctor Who, like, at cons all the time. And, like, dudes that are next to their mum and stuff still tell me, like, man, no.
John, to answer your question, yes, someone used a geek pickup line on me, and yes, it worked. They could name
What?
something like 48 decimal points after pi. And
That's
I
fine.
was so
Wow.
turned on, and I was just like, get over here.
That's the kind of thing that you like?
Oh.
Yeah.
Please tell
Yes.
me decimal points of pi. I've been waiting for this moment.
Hey, pie is delicious.
And delicious.
And
especially when-
this worked on you? This
Yeah.
worked?
Yeah,
I can
because
see that, like, he gets like to the 9th decimal point, and you're like, okay, yes, keep going. And then he gets to like the 15th decimal point, and she's like, okay, yeah, all right. I see how it is. All right.
Because I get up to, I think, 12 or something. I'm 3.14159265358, and then I kind of fizzle out. And he was like 826 and kept going and going and going, and I was just like, closed. They're gone.
You know, of course, that after 5 numbers, he was just making it up as he was going, right?
Exactly.
You know that.
Don't say that. You're ruining it for her. Is that my turn? Is it my turn to ask you a question now, Maude?
Yes, honey.
Okay. So if you could only take one game with you to a desert island to play for the rest of your life, what would it be? And if you say Skyrim, not allowed. Skyrim is not allowed.
Really? You're banning me from saying Skyrim when I'm...
banning you from playing Skyrim.
But here is my answer. Here is always my answer.
Zelda.
Yeah. Like, that's always my answer.
Do you think you're alone time, Maud? Jesus.
He's pretty cute in this one.
Do you want us to leave? I mean, I feel like we're third wheeling this conversation. You're touching
I'll tell you
your
what,
thum inappropriately, Maude.
If
And I find that offensive. You're,
you turned around and was like 3.141596.
you're objectifying Link.
Oh, marriage is imminent. So much marriage.
He looks like a girl.
Yes.
Looks like a girl.
I like pretty boys, what can I say? Alrighty, so that is our beautiful little question time done. Thank you. We're going to move on to the next little game that we're playing, and if you are watching this, and there's a bunch of you watching right now, I'd love you to join in. It's called Power. PWR, and that stands for what you are playing, watching, and reading. And if you're commenting there as well, because you've got the little comment box, keep tracking them through. We've got a bunch, and we will be getting through all of your questions throughout this stream. But to kick things off, John Campea,
Yes.
what are you playing, watching, and reading?
Well, I kind of gave it away a little bit at the beginning. I'm replaying again the desktop West End Games 1980s D6 system of the Star Wars role-playing game. And I'm a big fan, actually, of pencil dice, real role-playing games. I mean, I play a lot of computer games, but I've never really been into the role-playing computer game stuff. So that's what I'm currently playing, because I got a whole bunch of friends that are clamoring to try it and get into it, so I'm kind of reinvigorating a system.
I'm one of them!
Yes, Maude is one of them, as a matter of fact.
Sorry.
What I'm watching right now, because we are doing flashback reviews of it, we are going through Firefly. Going through Firefly again, because we're doing an online retro after show of each episode, trying to get more people introduced to it, and so that's what we're doing there. And sorry, what was the R? What does the R stand for?
Reading.
Reading. What I am reading right now is going to bore everybody, but I am actually currently reading Hillary Clinton's Hard Choices right now.
I know, that's cool.
Wait, does anyone not... I know I'm mind out of the gutter, but Hillary Clinton is talking about hard choices.
That's actually the name of a that's the name of a 1986 pornography.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Maddie, Power, hit me.
Okay, so what am I playing? Oh god, I always feel really boring when I do these things because I'm one of those people who just plays the same game constantly, and that's still World of Warcraft. I just can't stop myself. I can't tear myself away. 8 years, and I'm still in it.
We're
what am I
gonna
watching?
have to Twitch that.
Pardon me? What?
We'll Twitch the shit out of that.
Yeah, you can Twitch me getting really angry and yelling and going, "Why are you so bad?" at the screen. What am I watching? Well, I'm excited to actually watch Outlander because that I think premieres tonight. It's the 9th today, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the 9th. I think that premieres tonight. So I'm excited to see that. That's what I will be watching.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm also watching The Lottery and Masters of Sex, which is great. If you guys haven't watched it, it's so good. And reading, I'm reading this, Sacagawea. It's something about the Americans colonizing.
Yeah.
That story is fascinating.
Yeah, I've just read like the first page. It's quite a hefty novel, so I haven't quite gotten into it yet. But that's what I'm going for.
How do you say the name in your head? Are you like me, where you just kind of skim over the names?
If I read a name and I don't know, like Hermione, I always thought it was Hermione.
I was Hermione.
Hermione the whole time. I was like, or Hermy 1. I was like, Hermy 1. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just like blah, blah, when I read it. I try and pronounce it in my head, or I try and pronounce it out loud, and then you just end up looking like a really weird person.
Nate, you're up. Power.
Power. So basically, I'm still playing through Dragon's Dogma: Dark Arisen.
How good is that game?
Oh my god, it's so pretty.
So good. Hold on, can you please use my porn? Because I've started again now that I've finished by.
Excuse me?
Oh yeah. Okay. Can you please use my porn? PAWN. In this particular game, you have an AI companion that follows you around, but what's so great about Dragon's Dogma is that they kind of go up into like a cloud, and if you are friends with someone who's also playing the game, you can use and recruit their pawn into your team because you have a team of 4.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
So yeah, I'll definitely use your pawn. and I'll just give it like top ratings and everything in appearance. It'll be so good.
Thank you.
Um,
It's a dude, but thank you.
Can you change the way it looks? Make it really ugly. That would be really funny if she gave it to you looking like Link and returned it looking like Ganondorf.
You broke my pawn. Wait, no, hold up.
With an
Dodge that
R.
bullet. Yeah, with an R.
Watching?
Watching. I waited for a little bit, but the season 2 of Sword Art Online has slowly been coming out, and I usually wait and then watch blocks of it. So, absolutely loving that. I just want augmented reality gaming already. Hurry up. Oculus Rift is so inadequate compared to this anime and what it does. It's beautiful. And yeah, what I'm reading, still my textbooks and 30-second Element because yeah, I'm nerdy like that.
Science for the win. Tegan, run me by your
always.
PWR. We did it last week, so I'm just wondering if you've spiced anything up. Teagues?
Oh, yes. So at the moment, I just got an Ouya this week, so I have been playing a few little games on that, one being called Bomb Squad, which I think was very appropriate. That's a fun little co-op game that I've been playing. I've just started watching Silicon Valley. So only a couple of episodes deep, but really funny, really digging it so far. And I'm reading, after last week, everyone's going to think I'm the biggest weirdo of my reading. So last week was Bonked by Mary. This week is The Psychedelic Experience by Timothy Leary, which I will specify it's for research for my book. It's not because I'm dropping shrooms right now. So it's for a very specific reason.
Well, not right now.
No, not right now.
But later.
Before.
Yeah. Not right now. Hey. So playing, I just finished Bioshock Infinite and I'm back onto Dragon's Dogma because it's my happy place. Yeah, I finished it and I had to put the blanket over my head for 10 minutes. I was just like rattled. What an amazing ending of a game.
Yeah.
Rattled. I am watching Firefly again, which is hilarious, which is why my mouth just dropped open when you were talking about watching that, because it's just so good to have the team back. And I'm also watching Clone Wars on Netflix. I recommend it for everyone.
Oh.
Yes.
And I'm still reading my Star Wars encyclopedia.
Oh.
It's my homework. I've got to get it happening. I am hosting a podcast called Jedi Alliance, but speaking of Jedi powers and knowing about the Force, you are wearing a Star Wars cap, John Campea. Tell me about Jedi Council. We kind of skimmed over that a little bit, but I want to hear more.
Well, Jedi Council was something we started for AMC just as a short-term thing. We did it as like a 4-week series because I tell the story all the time, but my earliest childhood memory this is true, it's not hyperbole, is my mom taking me to see the original Star Wars when I was a little kid. I saw it, I don't know how many times in theaters. My first pet was a cat that I named Luke Skywalker. Once again, I wish I was joking about that. And like Star Wars has basically been my entire life. It's been my whole world. Like my journey to Mecca was the time I got to go to Skywalker Ranch and meet George Lucas and just tour Skywalker Sound and all that kind of stuff. And Star Wars is my life. I mean, it always has been. So we've got a guy on staff by the name of Christian Harloff, who runs the Schmoes Know network that you do Jedi Alliance for. And he came to me and said, it's ridiculous that we're not doing a Star Wars show. And I said, sure, let's do it. So I got a friend of mine named Paul Enns. And if you're into the Star Wars world, you'll know that name. He, for a long time, was the director of Lucas Online. And he was a vice president of something or other there, and he was like a producer on all the DVDs and all that kind of crap. Well, he's a really good old friend of mine. And so we decided we get the three of us, and once a week for 4 weeks, we're just going to catch up on all the newest Star Wars news. So we just made the decision that, due to popular demand, we're going to do it weekly. We're going to bring it back as a regular show and do it weekly. And, we had, like, Kyle Newman, the director of Fanboys, was on with us, and he wants to do it with us. And we've got a bunch of other people that are interested. So I'm like ridiculously excited. I even did a Star Wars fan film once that no one will ever see again. It was called Rise of the Trades. It was a cross between Phantom Menace and The Godfather. And yes, and it's a real special kind of awful. I did that like 13 years ago. But yeah, so that's Jedi Council. It's going to be starting back up probably in the next couple of months. So we'll keep everybody informed as when it's going to get going.
How far off am I? Anakin, you need to use the Force, okay?
You're pretty far off. That's
fantastic. Well, the whole concept of making all these shows for AMC was actually spawned from something that you created 11 years ago now called the Movie Blog. Now, 11 years, I think this is when websites definitely were there, but it was like almost if you got in and made it big, you could kind of dominate the internet. What happened with the Movie Blog? How did that all get created?
Well, I was living. I'm Canadian, by the way, in case anybody doesn't know, and I'm from the East Coast Canada in the Toronto area, and I was living further west in Canada for about 7 years in a town called Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Oh. You made it up.
No.
That can't be a real place.
It's where Super Dave Osborne had his genuine Saskatchewan sealskin bindings made. Anyway, so I started blogging before anybody even really knew what the term blog was, as a way of just keeping all my family and friends back east up to date with what I was doing. Before I realized it, though, really I was blogging mostly about my movie experiences. And because I grew up as a movie fanatic, and I decided, well, I'm going to start something called the Movie Blog. It was early enough in blogging that the domain name The Movie Blog was available. So I snatched it up, I started it, and I think in my first month I had like 21 readers in the first month, and I thought that was amazing. And then I had like 100 readers, and I had like 200 readers. Anyway, fast forward a couple years later, about 2 years later, I was back in Ontario, Canada. I was working in law at the time, and I had hit like 250,000 monthly readers. And I had just made my first check from Google Ads for $400.
Oh, man.
And so what happened was, this was a really big, like, turning point, iconic moment in my life. Two of my friends at the time took me out to lunch and had an intervention. And they said, dude, what you really love is movies. You just got a check for $400. You need to quit your job, and you need to do this full time.
Don't be a lawyer.
Yes. So, like an idiot, I said, yep, that's what I'm going to do. So I had a bunch of money saved up in the bank, so I knew I could live off my savings for a while. But I quit my job. I moved into this little tiny bachelor apartment so I could make my money stretch as long as I could. And, you know, a year and a half, 2 years later, we were at like 500,000 readers, and about a year after that, we were at 1 million readers a month. And then Time Magazine called me, and they wanted to do a story on me about the online film guys now having all this influence in Hollywood. And so they brought me down to LA and dressed me up as a Jedi, and they said like something about the Force, a new Force in the world of online film, I think is what they called it. And that changed a lot. And then my readers kept increasing, and ultimately that led to a certain company, you know, offered to buy the Movie Blog from me, and on top of that, hire me to keep running it, but they wanted me to move to LA. So I did that, and then the company was terrible, so I got out of that, and then AMC Theaters called me, and they said, we want to start something online, and we think you're the guy to do it, and will you come and work with us?
And it has absolutely taken off. I mean, every single day for the AMC Movie Talk alone, it's sort of Monday to Friday, half-hour recap of what's happening that day in movie news. And on average, it's, you know, upwards of 50,000 views a day, and a lot of them are watching live as well. I want to know, though, because you've obviously progressed your fan base, and if you had 1 million readers a month at one stage, you started with 21. Are those 21 still following you, and do you kind of like know them, or you know, in like a personal way or something, because they would be your diehards?
It is crazy. Actually, just this morning, I read a message from somebody who's been reading since like 2005, has been following me since 2005. So that's actually weird and extremely humbling at the same time, that people have been following you online and making you a part of their day that way. Like right now at AMC, we have roughly about 5 million views a month of our content. which is just it's flooring to us. And what's really weird, and you guys probably get experiences like this too, is now we're just movie fans. I mean, that's all we are. We're just fans, and we just love to talk about what we're fans about. We just want to talk about movies. We want to talk about Avengers. We want to talk about, all the stuff. And then we go to places like a movie theater, or we go to Comic-Con or whatever, and you have people stopping you on the sidewalks asking to take their picture with you. And it's like we're in an era now where fans have fans. It's kind of a weird kind of dynamic right now, but it's amazing. It's humbling. And it's really, really. I still don't know how to deal with it. I was actually hanging out with Jeremy Johns at Comic-Con, who's a big YouTube film critic, probably the biggest there is out there. And we were hanging out a lot, and he and I walking together through Comic-Con, and a whole bunch of people stopping us along the way, asking for pictures of him, of me, whatever. And we just started talking, and he was like, "Man, I gotta tell you, I love this." And for guys like us who were just like geeks, not used to getting any attention, whatever, he's thriving on it, right? He goes, "I think this is awesome. This is so much fun." And I'm like, I think it's fun, but I feel so uncomfortable because I don't know how to act properly around people. Right. But it's kind of a new kind of era.
But it's also that, I think I know who you are, but I'm meeting you for the first time. How are you going to process that? You're like, I don't know how. That's one of the tricky parts. Look, you have been doing this for over a decade, and you've already mentioned that you've been able to play poker with Jason Alexander. What are some of the highlights? What are those pinch-me moments that you've had? Is it a particular celebrity that you've been able to interview or meet or become friends with?
Well, it's kind of funny. Two of my best friends in LA, and oddly enough, I actually don't get to talk to them nearly enough, but Mark Neveldine, Brian Taylor, they're the guys who wrote and directed the Jason Statham movies Crank and Crank 2 and Gamer and things like that. And they're actually the ones who introduced me to my wife. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of big. Nice. George Lucas, Harrison Ford. Last month or 2 months ago, we had Kevin Feige and James Gunn and Chris Pratt of Guardians of the Galaxy come into our AMC Movie Talk studios and do a 1-hour live chat talking about the movie. That was really cool. The only guy I haven't met that I really, really want to meet is Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
But it was weird because I got invited to go have lunch at his mother's restaurant. So I got to hang out with his mom. I didn't get a chance to hang out with him. And last night, although I won't mention names, last night was kind of a good example of this weird thing. I went on a double date with a pretty prominent TV star. And I won't name who the star is, but we got to go down to Marina Del Rey and hang out on a yacht for the night and had a double date there. So it's one of those really, once again, surreal things. Is like, holy crap, I'm a nobody, and I'm sitting here in Marina Del Rey on this yacht with such and such actor. It was pretty fun.
Have you noticed that some of them are very hit and miss, the people in LA, especially the actors that we do get to talk to? Some of them are incredible, and then they say to never meet your idols because you can be completely disappointed by them. Have you had any of those moments?
I think I was in a potential moment like that. Obviously, one of my biggest heroes is Harrison Ford.
Oh.
But everybody knows that Harrison Ford don't have time for guff. Harrison Ford is all business and he's all serious. So I knew that going in the first time that I met with him. And he was exactly what I expected. He was direct, he was straightforward, he was fair, he was generous with his time. But, he's not friendly. And that's cool because, he's all business when he's on the carpet. So I've met with him a couple of times, and that's cool. What I really love meeting are celebrities. I'll tell you who one of them is Chris Pratt. I love meeting these celebrities who, are you allowed to swear on this show, by the way?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I love it when you meet these celebrities who, my favorites are the ones who have no idea why the fuck you even want to talk to them. Because they have this attitude of, who the hell am I? And, Chris Pratt is completely one of those guys. He was in our studio with us, and I've gotten together with him a couple times. And he's just so friendly and so down to earth, and it blows his mind that you think it's cool to be talking to him. And celebrities like that are just an absolute joy. He's like that. Pardon me, the dude from
There's that cough.
Yeah, there's the cough. Why am I forgetting his name? The lead of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Clark Gregg. Clark Gregg is completely like that. He's come down to our AMC 16 a couple times and hung out. He's just incredible, phenomenal. There's a number of guys like that that are just really, they don't play it professional. They play it like, holy shit, you want to talk to me? Cool, like that, and that's amazing. That's really amazing.
And the thing is with Chris Pratt, he is about to be one of the biggest stars. He is this generation's Harrison Ford now, and he's going, he's got a lot to kind of give with that. And I think it's kind of dawning on him, because I asked him when I was able to have an interview, 4 minutes, but it was, dude, have you seen your doll? Have you seen your action figure? And he was just like, yes, I just saw it. I can't even deal with this. Like, there I am. It's me, and people can play with me, and it's just like, I can't relate to that. I have no idea what that would feel like, but I can only imagine it would be the most surreal thing. But I don't know, maybe, John, you can kind of get on the same page or disagree, but I don't think that anyone knew that Guardians was going to be as big as it is. Like, the weekend that it pulled.
Anybody who says that they did are either A, lying, or B, talking about the week before it opened. Because as we started getting into the last 4 or 5 days before it opened, you could start to feel it, the groundswell, that people were enthusiastic about this. The positive word of mouth was insane, and I've seen it 5 times in theaters already. 5 times already. I saw it 4 times before it opened. That's how incredibly insanely. Actually, James Gunn wrote me a message on Facebook. He said, "Dude, why don't you just fucking start writing checks directly to me?" It's like, but I think, I think a lot of us were enthusiastic about it. But look, it was a comic book property that nobody had any idea about. Even comic book nerds had no idea what the Guardians of the Galaxy were or who they were. Right. And so it was by far the biggest gamble that Marvel has taken to date. But they know, because Marvel did this with the Avengers, they know that when people love their film or are going to love their film, how to snowball that positive word of mouth. They do it better than any other studio. They knew people were going to love Guardians of the Galaxy. They got the critics in pretty early to see it, and then they snowballed that positive word of mouth to the point that then $94 million opening weekend. My best guess 2 months before it opened was $70 million. I said if it opens to $70 million, Marvel is going to be dancing in the streets. They're going to be so happy. And then it hits 94. It's just crazy.
Yeah, they opened their mouths and they were just spewing money. That's amazing. So we've got to just draw the attention to the fact that you can comment live during this, where the comments are coming in thick and fast. You can tweet us at Geek Bombshells, or you can comment in the video below, because I've got a live stream happening here. I've got one from the Angry Dunsparce. Okay. What are your 3 favourite movies from the last 10 years? It's a bit of a
wow. I always hate these kinds of questions because, these are the types of questions you want to sit down for a half hour and kind of plot it out.
So in no particular order, but movies that are jumping out at you. There you go, a little bit more vague.
Well, Avengers is going to be one of them. I'm massively huge on the Avengers. I love that film. Oh man, I can't think. I can't think off the top of my head. Well, if you're going to ask me my top sci-fi films of the past 10 years, I'd say Serenity would be one of them. I'd probably say Avengers because that's sci-fi. Probably The Dark Knight. But overall, I need to think about it. I would need more time to think about it.
So it is a big question. Very hard to answer. If it was even the last year, it would be easier. But 10 years? Holy crap, that's a long time. We've got one here from Jedi. Hello, and thanks for tweeting along as well. What's your take on Christopher Nolan's Interstellar? I'm personally incredibly happy that space movies are making so many comebacks.
I think Christopher Nolan has a type of imagination that he understands sci-fi better than most people, and you can see that in Inception. Sci-fi is not necessarily lasers and explosions and aliens. That's not what the heart of sci-fi is. Sci-fi is about the stretching of the human imagination. And when you look at a film like Inception, Nolan has a mastery of a grasp on that concept. I got to admit, the first trailer for Interstellar came out, and I wasn't impressed.
It didn't reveal anything.
Yeah, I thought this is nothing here. It's there's nothing here. There's nothing to talk about here. This is just a cornfield, and Matthew McConaughey's voice talking all grumbly. I mean, that's all you had. And then the second trailer came out. It's like, okay, now I'm shitting my pants. This is going to be awesome. So I cannot wait for this movie. I mean, look, it's a trailer. It looks good. We've seen lots of great trailers to shitty movies. We've seen lots of bad trailers to good movies. But Christopher Nolan has earned our trust. He's earned the benefit of the doubt, so I'm super pumped for it. I can't wait to see it.
On the back of that question, I want to ask, do you think that we are moving into a different kind of trend, and that is space now?
I don't know about that. I mean, you do see, Hollywood is like the music industry. Trends come and go. They ebb and flow. At some point, Poison is going to be cool again. And so I think with
the band.
Oh, yeah, the band, yes.
Oh.
Not actual deathly poison, no.
Hopefully that's not when I'm alive. Good.
So, I mean, is a trend of space movies coming? I don't know. Like, okay, yeah, we had Gravity, and now we have Interstellar. That's going to be 2 films in the span of 9 months. I don't know that that constitutes a trend. So let's wait a little bit longer before we jump to any conclusions about that.
Guardians. It's definitely bringing space back. Yeah.
Argue with that.
I've got another one here from Jamal. He said, could Warcraft bring a new Middle Earth to movie audiences? And could this movie... jumped halfway through. Let's get started on that first part because the comments just went, brr. Oh, here we are. And could the movie and possible franchise be as good as Lord of the Rings? Do you think that Warcraft has got what it takes?
No, not to be the next Lord of the Rings, but people are not understanding how much importance is riding on this Warcraft movie. There are 2 films coming out in the next couple of years that are insanely important. One is Assassin's Creed, one is Warcraft, and here's why they're important. For Assassin's Creed and Warcraft, look, 3 rules in life. Death, taxes, video game movies suck. Those are absolute universal laws.
Speaking of that, I loved Mortal Kombat. I loved it.
Oh, so did I. But it's awful. It's like great sex I had with an ugly girlfriend. I mean, she was an ugly girlfriend, but the sex was awesome. There's no denying it. I loved Mortal Kombat. No doubt. It's awesome. But it's awful awesome. I mean, we gotta admit, it's awful awesome. Man, that might be, aside from Guardians of the Galaxy, Mortal Kombat, probably my favorite soundtrack of all time. So.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. Du hast. Anyway, so you got an environment here where all video game movies just suck. Assassin's Creed is a video game with, and this is rare, with lots of potential narrative. Warcraft is a video game property that you can go in any direction you want. You've got filmmakers like Michael Fassbender attached as a producer and directing Assassin's Creed. You got the Moon director on Warcraft. These 2 movies could be so significant for video game movies moving forward. Warcraft itself is doubly important, though, because not only does Warcraft and could Warcraft really influence the future and the direction and the quality of future video game adaptations, it could also, in one swoop, completely throw open the floodgates for Sand and Sword movies again.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all in one swoop. A lot of people thought when Lord of the Rings came out. I'm sorry, I'm blabbering on, but when Lord of the Rings came out, a lot of people thought, oh my God, now sword and sorcery movies are going to come out in droves. But the opposite happened because everybody was afraid of being compared to Lord of the Rings and having their stories get crushed. We're in a different era now. It's been a lot of years since Lord of the Rings. If Warcraft, this movie is so fucking important, if Warcraft can crush it, it's going to open the floodgates for video game movies. It's going to open the floodgates for sword and sorcery movies. Will it be the Lord of the Rings? No, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but it doesn't need to be. So, as a guy who played World of Warcraft for like 6 years, what
were you?
I was an undead mage named Darth Rampage.
Oh, Darth Rampage. There it is.
I know.
That's excellent. That's the best thing ever.
Are you surprised that you get laid a lot before the age of 20? Anyway, so...
yes, ugly girlfriends.
Look, these 2 movies, so important. We've got to keep our eye on them and really cheer them on and hope they don't suck. Because in as much as they can open the floodgates, they can slam the doors shut.
Right.
As an Assassin's Creed movie sucks and a Warcraft movie sucks, you're going to see studios really apprehensive about putting a lot of time, energy, or quality into their video game adaptations. But if they work, new era. Just
Let's
like
look back
that.
in the last 10 years. Prince of Persia didn't work. Jake
I
Gyllenhaal
love
couldn't
that
do it.
movie. Are you serious?
It
It
flopped.
was,
That was a
it
great
was
film.
average. It was okay.
I really liked it. I think Jake Gyllenhaal was gorgeous.
You know, here's the thing. My big mantra about movies is this, and I say this all the time. I could put on a T-shirt. The most beautiful thing about film, honestly, is the pure subjectivity of it. Like 10 people can stand around a piece of art hanging on a wall, and they can each see 10 different things, and none of them are wrong. Film is like that. But Prince of Persia was a piece of shit. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. Oh my god, I hated that movie.
My mom doesn't agree with you. My mom's sitting here. She's visiting from Australia. She's sitting over there, and she's like, Jake Gyllenhaal. I love that movie.
Oh, man.
She thinks you're all idiots because she
Oh,
loves
Jake
it.
Gyllenhaal is a beautiful man. Look, I'm as heterosexual as they come, but I wouldn't turn down a hug from that guy. I mean, he's he's a beautiful man, but
Those chiseled features.
very
I
chiseled
think he was
features.
perfect. I just thought he really looked like the Prince of Persia. I think
When I was playing
like
Prince of Persia, though, he was almost 8-bit, and it was a side scroller.
Oh
so,
yeah, and he had a turban.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he had like orange hair.
Is that the one
probably.
where you fell on the spikes? I used to play that.
Was.
Yeah.
Da-da.
Yeah. Oh, that was nasty. And you had to find
So
the
heavy
sword to
duty.
kill the guard at the end.
Yes, you did.
Oh, yeah.
Good work, Maddie. I've got another one here from Jester JLA who said, what are you looking forward to the most? Star Wars Episode 7, Avengers 2, or Batman vs. Superman?
Oh, Jesus.
Which of your children would you like to kill?
Yeah. Look, it's always going to be Star Wars. It just is. It's always going to be Star Wars. It doesn't matter how many Phantom Menaces they put out. You put out another Star Wars movie, it's the first thing I'm going to go see. But look, Batman vs. Superman is a movie I've been waiting for 20 years, ever since I read The Dark Knight Returns. Ever since I read The Dark Knight Returns, I think everybody who ever read The Dark Knight Returns, we've been waiting for Batman vs. Superman. DC can catch up. Marvel is 10 laps ahead of DC right now. But I'm telling you, and people argue with me about this, DC catches up just like that if Batman vs. Superman crushes it. If it does, it's an even playing field again. And, of course, Avengers 2. I mean, damn it. I hate flying, so I turned down a set visit for Avengers 2 overseas.
What?
And I ended up sending... I know. I sent one of my staff members instead. And my staff member now loves me forever. But they came back and told me all about all this shit they're seeing. It's like, oh, my God, this is going to be so good. It's the three of them. But I'd say in order, Star Wars #1. Batman vs. Superman, because I've been waiting for 20 years, and then Avengers 2. But make no mistake, I'm seeing them all opening day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If not 4 times before. For me, Star Wars, because I really want to know how JJ is going to use this. I love that he's going back to less green screen. And I'm again excited. I think that there's more weight. I think if Star Wars Episode 7 doesn't do as well, that is the most crucial loss, because Avengers has kicked so much ass. You know, there is 20 years building up. Oh, actually, there's more than 20 years building up with the Star Wars. But, you know, like you were saying with Batman vs. Superman, like that's going to be amazing. But you know what? We have had before a Star Wars movie released that we didn't love. It's a thing. It's possible. I don't think that it's possible to have an Avengers movie that you just don't love. DC, I'm a little bit skeptical. I mean, they really, like you said, they have catching up to do. Honestly, Marvel is Captain America doing his laps. You know, and there's Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie is DC going, holy shit, you go fast. You know, and then what happens to Anthony Mackie? He gets his wings, he turns into Falcon, and he flies. So, is that an analogy? You betcha.
Oh, good lord.
What's everyone else's favorite out of all the three?
I really don't want to see Batman vs. Superman. I'm not really excited to see that at all, just because this whole Wonder Woman controversy has just really like turned me off it. It's just really turned me off. Like I had no issue with the costume or the casting, nothing. I have no issue with that. It's just all this like bad negativity is now attached to the film. So now I'm like, oh, now I can't get excited. But I'm really excited for Avengers. I really want to see how they make Scarlet Witch not look like a grungy teenager and make Quicksilver not look like he's on his way. He looks like a guy who's just graduated college on his way to an underage rave.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's an old
rave.
perv who just goes to prey on young girls. That's what he looks like. I'm like, yeah. But I'm excited to see
Jesus
it.
Christ. That's a heavy concept. You just called him an aggressive stalker. He's like, yes.
You just went to a really dark place. That's pretty grim.
Yeah,
But he does. Look at his costume. Look at him. He looks like a 30-year-old going to a high school party. That's what he looks like.
It really shows off his calves.
Yeah.
My thing about Quicksilver is that Aaron Johnson's not the friendliest person in real life, so I'm not warm towards him. But at the same time, when we saw Days of Future Past, the Quicksilver scene in that movie, I was like tears streaming down my face.
Oh, yeah.
It was so clever, so well done, and that's all he had. He had that one sort of scene to shine, and then he wasn't in the rest of the movie, which was such a waste. It's almost like that scene was just written for him. So I'm interested to see where they'll go with that one. By the way, shout out from Darren Seeley for you, Campea. He has been one of your fans since 2005.
Yeah, Darren J. Seeley. Actually, he's been just a real reliable contributor to the conversations and everything we've been doing for a long time. Yeah, he's really reliable.
What do you think about the Marvel series like Daredevil and Agent Carter? From Juan Tamez.
You're talking about the TV series, right?
I'm guessing so.
And what were they again? Daredevil, Agent Carter, and what was the other one?
Just those two.
There's another one coming. Daredevil, if I'm not mistaken, is being done by Fox.
I've seen the pictures for it. It looks like a guy in a suit.
It could be interesting. I'm one of the only human beings in existence that actually liked the Ben Affleck Daredevil film.
Wow, yeah.
I still contend you take out that teeter-totter scene, and it's a damn good comic book movie, but it has the teeter-totter scene, and there you go. But here's the thing. Just make sure you don't cross it with the cinematic universe, and you'll be fine. I think that's one of the big weaknesses of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, by the way, I think is one of the worst TV shows on the air right now.
I can't watch it.
It's terrible.
I can't get into it. I can't get into it.
Which is really unfortunate because, Agent Coulson is such a great character. Clark Gregg is such a great performer. The character deserves to have a better show written around them. But part of the weakness is that it's tied into the cinematic universe. And so its hands are tied about what it can do and what directions it can go because they cannot contradict what's going on in the movie universe. And I think that's one of the brilliant things that DC is doing right now, that they are not crossing over. Arrow or the Flash or their other properties are not going to cross over with their movie universe, and so they are free to do whatever they want to do and go whatever creative direction they want to go. And I think that's key. And one of the other main reasons keeping Daredevil from being part of the cinematic universe is, of course, if they do that, then that means Daredevil is also in the same universe as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is on a completely different network. And they're definitely not going to tie their fate to another network's fate, so it's got potential. We'll see how it turns out.
We've got the last sort of 12 minutes left. Keep your questions coming in at Geek Bombshells or in the comments below because we will get to those. But it's time to talk games. This is what I want to. This is what I want to really get across with you because that's something that we kind of bonded over. That copy has just given you grief, isn't it?
Oh, just total fits.
I know that you say it's unfair to for questions like what are your favorite 3 movies of the last 10 years, but what was the video game that shaped you as a gamer?
X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Oh.
X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and a lot of people won't even remember this game, but Day of the Tentacle is one of the funniest, best. It was a Sam & Max kind of game, but it was absolutely one of the funniest puzzle solver games I'd ever played, and so those 2 video games really shaped what I would continue to love in video games and stuff like that, and of course the original Warcraft, the first Warcraft. Was really big too.
Hold on, so what do you prefer out of X-Wings or TIE Fighters? Which one's better?
I actually preferred the TIE Fighters in X-Wing versus TIE Fighters. Yeah.
Same! I am losing this battle really, really hard with Jedi Alliance because we put it out there and I'm getting my ass kicked because I chose TIE Fighter, but I love it. I think it's more maneuverable. I can go on and on about that one, but I won't. But it's good to have you on the side there.
You know one of the reasons, the bad reason, but one of the reasons I prefer TIE Fighters is because attacking Rebel capital class ships Listen to me. Attacking Rebel capital class ships was more fun and visually interesting than just attacking Star Destroyers. So I found that pretty cool.
I like the sound of them. I think they sound so awesome. Oh, love it. Let's talk about the consoles that you had, the ones that you've had growing up, the ones that you'll use now. Are you into consoles or PC?
Well, honestly, I'm much more of a PC gamer. Like I'm much more into Diablo 2 and playing, StarCraft 2 and playing those types of games. I am a console owner though. I started off. I'm going to date myself here. I started off. I was a little bit too young to get the original Atari, but I was just coming of age when the knockoffs started coming out. So I had Leisure Vision.
Oh wow.
I had Vision. I had Intellivision.
Wow.
So I started playing those games, and right now, this is going to be weird. I actually prefer PlayStation 4, but I currently have an Xbox One. The console game I'm playing right now is another absolute. I love funny games. South Park: Stick of Truth.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
The last 12 months, what are some of the games that you've really kind of wanted to dedicate time into? Because something that you do not have is time. So a lot of these games that require 40, 50 hours to finish it, it's a commitment that we have to kind of make with the game. What are some of the ones that you finished and went, yes?
There's a mobile game called Land Grabbers that I got psychotically addicted to. Every spare moment I had, I was picking up my iPad, which is weird. It's only on iPad. No, it's on Android now. That's right. But at the time, it was only on iPad, and I'm more of an Android guy. But it was the only reason I would pick up my iPad, and I would play it constantly. I'd wake up in the morning. I'd be in the shower. I'd be holding it above the water stream and playing Land Grabbers. I'd be going to bed. I'd play for 3 hours before going to sleep. Age of War is another one that's really good right now. Once again, that's a mobile game that I'm really enjoying. And just an awful lot of StarCraft 2.
John, I need you to be honest with me. Just use this as a confession and cleanse your soul.
Okay.
How much money have you put into your online game? Like the mobile games? Does it have like a click to speed up?
Okay.
This is a safe place.
I can honestly tell you, the only game that I have put money into for online games, because the big trend right now is in-game purchases.
Yeah.
The only game I've put money into was Simpsons Tap Out.
Oh god.
And I have probably sunk about $300 into Simpsons Tapped Out, which is roughly the cost of a Vegas hooker. So
I wouldn't know.
That shows you where my priorities lie. My priorities lie. I played a lot of Simpsons Tapped Out for a while.
Did you run out of donuts or something?
Yeah.
It was all about donuts. Although I gotta say, one of my favorite things that I have right now, I've got it at my other place, so I'll show it to you sometime. But I was playing it so much that my friends got me this huge Simpsons donut. As a
nice.
big pillow comforter that you use on planes and everything too.
Right.
It's really cool. I loved it.
$300. We are here to support you.
What about putting it into Blizzard, though? How much money have you given to Blizzard over the years in monthly subscription?
Oh, you know what? I haven't even taken that into consideration.
I don't even want to think about mine.
Well, I mean, obviously, the money I put into Warcraft it by far overshadows any upfront disc purchasing money I've made for buying the various Blizzard games, whether it's Diablo or the various Warcrafts or StarCraft, whatever. It was all that damn expense, and you don't think about it because it's like, oh, wait, what? It's at the time I think at first it was like $19 a month. That's no problem. I can do $19 a month. And then they lowered it, and then before you know, it's like, oh, that $19 a month today equals $700.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's disheartening. That's disheartening.
Did you ever get into...
I was just going to say, and the fact of the matter is, and you put so much money into it, then you feel like, well, I can't stop playing. I've already invested like $600 in this game. I got to keep playing. It's devious. Devious.
Yeah, my dad's clocked over 400 days on World of Warcraft.
I don't even want to know what mine is.
Wow.
I don't want to know.
Speaking about MMOs, did you ever get into Old Republic, being a huge Star Wars fan that you are?
Loved Old Republic. I played Alliance side, so I was this Jedi dude, and I played it until this is really weird. This is a terrible excuse for stopping playing a game. But I was playing it, and I was advancing. I think I almost got as far as you could go. And then my bank thought they might have detected bad activity on my card, so my bank has this safety procedure where they cancel my card and they send me a new one. So they canceled my card, and then it was like the day before Old Republic tried to renew my monthly subscription, said, oh, your credit card isn't working anymore, and they suspended my account, and then I just never got around to reactivating it when I got my new credit card. But I loved Old Republic. I thought it was great.
Well, it is, you're exploring more RPGs out there, and I noticed that with that one, you turned to the light side and not the dark side.
Yes.
When you do play tabletops or any kind of like character creations, what's the kind of character that you do make?
Okay, this is the part that sucks. Because ever since I moved away from Canada and I came down to the US, I didn't have any friends down here who were already into these games. And so when I would try to get games going, I've always automatically had to be the game master.
Yeah,
and so literally I have not played as a player. I haven't played a desktop role-playing game probably in 5 years. Which sucks, but I mean, I enjoy running a game. I have a lot of fun doing it, but I haven't had to create my own damn character in like 5, 6, 7 years. It's kind of depressing.
Let's do it now, really quickly. You've got 90 seconds. Create either, create a Dungeons and Dragons character. For example, mine is Lenka. She is a half-elf thief. She's kind of chaotic good, chaotic neutral in a way. I want to know who you would have, what you would have, and why.
Ooh. Oh, there's Alicia. Gosh, okay, 90 seconds less. All right, I would probably go, since my very first role-playing game character was a mage that I named Zap. Yes, I named him Zap.
Very original.
My current Warcraft character is an undead mage. I would probably go with a wizard. I would probably go human just to get my feet wet again and playing and getting into as the player side. And then what I would probably do is I'd probably want to play him a little Gandalf. I might go a little bit lawful good.
Okay. You'll get so bored so quickly, Campea. But we've got a shout out from Bob C3600 who says, hey guys, watching from Ireland, love you. Igor Bog 88 who said, such geeks. Yeah.
Don't you know who we are?
Unleashed.
Jeez. Words hurt,
Razvan Boris wants to know, hey, yay, StarCraft 2, what race do you play?
I don't know what any of this means.
I generally always play. For a long time, I played Zerg. I love playing the Zerg because I loved the characters that you could then bury and they shoot up their spikes as you approach them. I like to set up choke points and use them for that. So for now, I'm going to stick with Zerg. Yeah.
Cool.
No, Protoss, because all I do is I bum rush, making up as many carriers as I can, and then you just wipe out anything. Once you get like 12 carriers, you can just basically go across any board and just wipe everybody out. It's crazy.
All right. For those of you who don't game,
For
welcome to
those of you who don't game, you have to construct additional pylons.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare. You hear that those words in your dreams.
So we've got one question here from Barry McCockiner. Sorry, Barry. So do you think Channing Tatum will do a good job as Gambit? I loved him in the Jump Street movies, but I'm not so sure he can pull it off. What do you reckon, John Campea?
Here's the thing. I've not been a fan of Channing Tatum for a long time. If you ever saw that movie he did called Fighting, it's one of the worst performances by an actor in history. And then all of a sudden, he was in that little comedy with Vince Vaughn called The Dilemma, where he played like a little comedic role, a little small role, and he was actually pretty good in it. And we're like, maybe comedy's his thing. And then he did 21 Jump Street, which I said for about a year was going to suck. And he was awesome in it. And it's like, okay, this dude has found his stride in comedy. I've still not been really impressed with him in any kind of dramatic role, although I do think he's getting better.
Foxcatcher.
Comedy is his thing. And Gambit could be a nice little gateway drug for him into getting a little bit. So he's going to be comedic, but putting in a bit of action, maybe a little bit of dramatic in there as well. Honestly, I think if people can just get over themselves about the stereotypes they have of him, I think he might do a pretty good job as Gambit, to be honest.
I think he's going to nail it. Apparently his father is Cajun, and he grew up with in the cold Cajun dialect, and he did a Cajun impersonation, and it was Gambit. I heard it, and I was like, oh my god. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, we're fine. We're so fine, especially after Taylor Kitsch's Gambit.
Yeah, not good.
Wasn't great at all. We've got a couple more questions just coming in. Do you think that the Deadpool movie, this is M. Jones, do you think the Deadpool movie will actually get made? And if so, do you think Fox will make it PG-13 or a hard R? It's going to be a hard R.
It has to be hard R.
It won't be hard R. I mean, I agree with Alicia. You want it hard R, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there is a medium, a happy medium here. I think if you watch that little test footage they did, what are the two things that make something R? Language and blood. Not violence, blood. When you watch that little test footage, how violent was it? Super violent. But how much blood was in it? None. Severed head and everything, no blood. Plus, one of our readers or one of our viewers sent in a suggestion to me saying, you know what? Break the fourth wall with the language, and every time Deadpool swears, beep it, and then have him acknowledge the beeping of it.
Yeah,
I thought, you know what? that might be the crack in the door to get Fox to go, okay, we'll make this thing. Because they're looking for a way to make it PG-13. And if you can do it, no blood, it's not a problem, and beep out his swearing and make a joke out of it.
Well, I just saw The Expendables 3, and it's PG-13, but there's quite a few shits in there, and there's one fucked up. So you can get away with a lot with PG.
That's true, yeah. So you got a little bit of wiggle room there now.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds was saying that the script was there. The only reason why a studio wouldn't get on there is because they are actually naming names and they're calling out studio heads for particular things. And that, it was an R-rated movie and no one wanted to get that. So they would have had to have just really toned down that script to get that flying. And I don't know, if it still works and you can still keep what Deadpool is all about and not do what the X-Men franchise did and sew his mouth shut.
Oh, yeah.
He's the mouth with the mouth.
Yeah, that was a little questionable.
The worst thing I've ever heard in my life. One last one. Do you think the Nightcrawler? With Jake Gyllenhaal. The trailer's out for that one. Do you like the look of that?
I haven't seen it. I have not watched it yet.
It looks good.
The last 48 hours have been kind of no, actually, the entire last week have been really crazy for me. I mean, besides being sick, I've also been trying to literally put together our 2015 shooting schedule and budgets and all this kind of stuff. And it's just weird going from a movie blogger to now being in charge of 12 staff people and having a $500,000 budget and trying to make all this crazy stuff work. It's it takes away from me actually watching some of the movie trailers that I want to. So yes.
Pros and cons.
And the very, very last question that we've got, because we are running out of time, it's from Bilbo T. Baggins. What do you think if Ghostbusters 3 has an all-female cast? Melissa McCarthy is being rumoured for a role, but I think audiences are getting tired of her shtick at the box office lately. Would you want her in the film?
I don't think, look, I've said this for a year, I don't think Ghostbusters 3 is going to happen at all. I think as much as Dan Aykroyd keeps saying, it's coming, folks, it's coming, trust me. I mean, look, it's gone from, it's a new generation of these Ghostbusters, it's going to be led by Seth Rogen, to now it's going to be an all-female thing. I don't even think they know what they want to do.
I would love to see it be an all-female cast, because I just think that would be, there's this generation's Ghostbusters, and I think that would be really kind of cool.
I think if you're going to do another Ghostbusters, you have to do something completely different, or else you're just going to be compared to the first original, and you can't live up to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be all for an all-female cast, but I think the person, Bilbo T. Baggins, is right. I think that last movie, what was the name of it again? Where she steals from the pie place?
Tammy.
Tammy.
Yeah.
I think Tammy proved that I think people are a little bit over her shtick. When her shtick is in a supporting role, her shtick is awesome. But I got over her shtick after that last movie she did with Jason Bateman. It's it worked, but by the end of that movie, I was now over it.
Identity Thief or whatever?
Identity Thief, that's it. I was kind of over it by the end of that film, so I think a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is time. We do have a lot of questions. I am sorry if we've missed you out. John, did you want to come drop by this video in a week or so and maybe pop in a few answers from the people that did miss out, because they're obviously, if they're not watching it live.
I will do my best.
That is a good answer. If not, all of the Geek Bombs will be doing that as well. We'll be going through and answering all the questions that you may have missed. So if you want to direct any questions at Alicia's T-shirt, which is getting the most attention on comments right now.
Good.
Yeah. I wore this thing, Sly, and he loved it.
Oh, and I just want to say to Maddie's mom.
Oh.
Listen to me here. I know Jake Gyllenhaal's publicist. If you need a hook-up while you're visiting, let's see if I can make that happen. See if I can make that happen.
She can't hear you, but I heard you. I'll take you up on that offer. Okay. Move my mother out of that conversation completely.
We have just met Jake's Gyllenhaal. There you go.
I'll take it.
Wow. A name badge and everything. I'll sign up.
I will literally donate $100 to Geek Bombs programming if next week you do the show. If I turn on your show and I see Maddie has on her lower third Jake Gyllen's whore. You do that. $100.
I'll do it. For $100, you have to pinky promise.
Well, thanks so much.
Pinky promise and we'll do it.
We only really hit the tip of the iceberg for that one, but it was so great. John, where can people catch you if they do want to stick around and hear more from you on every show that you're doing?
Besides, you obviously you can find all of myself and Alicia there. You can find us on youtube.com/AMC Theaters for all of our various shows that we do. We do like 2 to 3 shows a day, so you can see a lot of stuff there. But and you can find me on all the various social media networks, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, Instagram. You can find me at John Campea.
Fantastic! Thank you so much for joining us for this week's Geeks Unleashed. Bombers, you know what to do.
The bomb has been dropped.
Don't know if that